Awesome. You ready to rock?
Yep, perfect.
Just want to make sure we're recording, and we are, so that's good.
Okay.
A better life, better vision, what you wanting? Let's make it happen. Time to choose the better story. Come on. Choose the better story. Hey, choose the better story. Yeah.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Choose the Better Story, everybody. My name is Ryan, and I'm the host. This is a podcast about vision, mindset, performance, and purpose. And today's topic is not for the faint of heart. I'm just going to come right out and say it. Today, we're talking about suicide and the effects of losing a loved one by suicide. And joining us on the show today is Jessica Sandoval, who lost her husband by suicide 3 years ago. So, Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you for
Very glad
letting
to have us.
us.
Very glad to have you. Give us the spark notes. Maybe just summarize who you are, where you live, and what you do.
My name is Jessica Sandoval, and I live in Willows, California. I was born and raised here. I have two children. I have a 35-year-old daughter, Shayla. She lives in LA. She is married to Joe. He is a LAPD police officer. And I have a grandson that's 10 years old, Mason. And then my son is 22, and his name is Connor. And he is in the fire academy right now. So that's a little bit about that. And then I'm an owner of a hair salon here in Willows. I've had it for 33 years. So I've been in that business pretty much my whole life too.
The big city of Willows.
I
What's
know.
like the best part of living in Willows?
It's small town, small
Yeah.
town. But I did love raising the kids in this small town.
Yeah. I'm from Paradise, which I would consider a small town too. I always thought it was humorous when I would go because I coached basketball at Paradise High for many years.
Oh,
And so I've been to the Willows campus multiple times, in my past. And I always thought it was funny, you mentioned small town. So Willows, their football field, the field goal, like, where you kick the ball through, um, that once somebody kicks a field goal, it like goes out into the street. Like that's how small the field is, and that's how small the town is. It was really cool.
that is true. That is absolutely true.
So, we're going to talk today about your story,
Hmm.
and it's going to obviously center around your late husband, Cesar.
Hmm.
And tell us how did you two meet?
Yes. So Cesar, he came to Willows when he was like 3 years old from Mexico. So he
Hmm.
was pretty much raised here his whole life too. So we went to school together. He was a grade above me. So we knew each other all during high school, but we did not start dating until after high school when I was like, I think it was between 19 and 20 when we started dating. And so when I started hanging out with him, he was a police officer for a year over in Colusa. And
Hmm.
in fact, when I started dating him, I went on my first date with him. He was starting in Willows PD. So the next
Okay.
week. So we've been together since, I was 20 and now I'm 51.
What year was it that you got married?
So we got married. We dated for like 8 or 9 years before we
Okay.
the commitment. So we got married in 2001, and then that was so we've been married. We were married for all the years, but we were together for
Okay.
28, 29 years. So long
Sure.
time.
Yeah, and it sounds like he was already in law enforcement when you first met. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. So he was a year into it. Yeah.
Okay. What is something good about being the spouse of someone that is in law enforcement?
The good thing, you always feel safe and protected. That's the biggest thing. Like, I never worried about anything. Never, because my husband was a police officer and I knew he would totally protect and serve, and
Yeah,
didn't have any worries in that part at all.
sure. And that's the upside, like you feel safe and protected.
Exactly.
And what's the difficult part about
The,
being married to someone who's in law enforcement?
yeah, the difficult part was the shifts. They're not always around.
Yeah.
We had two children. You know, he didn't get to go to the games. He didn't get to go to all the functions. You
Mm.
know, there was some Christmases he missed, and then just trying to sleep during the day when we're all up,
Yeah.
that's a hard thing too. That's difficult. And a lot of people don't realize that shift work is, it messes with you, just the sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would guess if he's got shifts that are all throughout the day and all throughout the night,
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
life and your family's life didn't always line up or
Exactly.
align. Like,
Exactly. So you're missing the holidays, and people just don't understand that's hard on some
yeah, and
people.
I mean that's like a fits right into the next question I want to
Oh
ask.
yeah.
So, like in your experience, what is true about law enforcement that the general public wouldn't really understand?
Um, they wouldn't understand the fact that they obviously they don't understand what the police officer sees during the day and what they deal with, all the calls that they go to, the scenes. Then they have to, you know, come home and be a spouse and a parent. And,
Hmm.
turning that switch off has got to be the hardest thing.
Yeah,
Now that I think about it, maybe at the
yeah.
time I didn't think about it, but the weight of that doesn't disappear.
And then would you say turning that switch off is the most difficult thing, like for you, or
I think
that was your
I
experience of him?
I think of him. You
Okay,
know, I really do believe that now that I
sure.
think about it. It's just like, he was so good about that. But
Hmm.
now I think back of, all the stuff that he endured that day, but you don't talk about it. You come home and you're the good husband and you're the good
Yeah,
parent. Let's continue the night or the
sure.
day. So
Yeah, and how many years was Cesar in law enforcement before retiring?
29 years. So he was
29 years.
yes, 29 years, and so he was a police officer in Clusa for 1 year, and then in Willows for like 10, and then the rest was at Chico Police Department. So 29 years of that. So he was maxed out. So you have to pretty much retire after so many years, and he was turning 50.
So I'm gonna like push pause here really quickly
Okay.
and just want to say this. If you're listening to this and you are in law enforcement, thank you. Sincerely, thank you. You protect and serve. Sadly, we live in an era where the media portrays law enforcement in a way that I don't think is healthy. Yeah, there is everyone in law enforcement, you know, innocent. No, there's some bad actors, but there's bad actors in every industry. But for most part, these people put on their uniform every day. They kiss their wife, they kiss their kids goodbye, and they hope that they return at the end of the day. So if you're in law enforcement, thank you. I also want to say thank you to those of you who are the family of someone that's in law enforcement because you make real sacrifices as well. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, Jessica, like they're not always home on the holidays that you want to spend together as a family because they're out protecting and serving. And so families do make a tremendous sacrifice just by, law enforcement living up to their calling. And
Ex-
so, I mean, genuinely just want to express that. I mean, that these people are, they're putting their uniform on, going out and doing great things, serving the community, trying to keep us all safe. And it's coming often as an expense to their own family. And so there's real sacrifices being made. And again, just want to shout out those of you that are in law enforcement or the families that are affected.
yep. And I'm glad you touched base on that, Ryan, because there was so much negative for those officers after
Yeah.
COVID, and that's really
Yeah.
important to thank them because yes, and there's bad people and there's good people, but they dealt with a lot during that time.
Can you take us back to who your husband was and what he meant to you,
Yeah.
Jessica?
Cesar, oh, he was my rock. He was my everything. Because I mean, that's all you know when you've been with somebody for so long. He was the type of guy that would walk in a room and he might make a little smart comment, but by that 5 minutes that you're with him, everybody wants to be his friend. Well, it makes sense too. you know, now when I think about it, it's like everybody loved him no matter what. He knew how to engage with anybody. It didn't matter if it was the homeless person on the street or it was his best friend. He would treat
Mm.
that person like they were so important.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's kind of a crazy thing because when I go to Chico, I met a lot of people through him, and I'd go over there and go to lunch and, hang out with them. And I've had numerous times that people come up, oh my gosh, you're Cesar's wife. He made the biggest difference. And two of them
Mm.
were homeless. And so right there,
Really?
yep. And it caught me off guard one time when I was at Walmart. And they said, I just remember you on the news, Jessica. And I wanted you to know
Wow.
that he was everything to us because he was in charge of the downtown when the homeless people had to move. He
Yeah.
was Target sergeant. So he dealt with those people every day. And at his funeral, over 1,000 people showed up. That's pretty amazing to me. I mean,
Mm.
those are things that he was the life of the party. I mean, he was not
Yeah.
shy. He would engage with anybody. Nobody was underneath him. He would make
Sure.
them feel like they were. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want everybody to know, which everybody does know. I mean, because he was obviously a police officer there, but he would just walk in a room and light it up. And he was our hero.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hero living under your own roof. It's pretty incredible.
Yep.
When he retired, did you retire as well? Like, were you both retired? Is it just
No.
him? You were still
So
working?
no, he was retiring, so he was all excited. We gave him a party. We had like 300 people out here in our backyard. It was awesome. It was awesome. I can't even tell you. It was just like the perfect. We had a perfect time, and he was so excited because he wanted to travel. And so our agreement was I was going to work for another year in my salon, and then I'm going to sell my salon.
Mm.
And we were like, and he goes, we're going to travel, see where we want to be. Maybe we want to be in Arizona. So we were taking a lot of trips because my son was at Arizona State and he had been there for
Yeah.
his 2 years before Cesar had passed. So we were like, maybe we should go there. So we had all these things that we were lining up, like everything's figured out. Everything's going to be great. We had a person that was like, if you ever sell your house, because we live on 5 acres, I want your house, all those things. So
Mm.
we were excited. And he was excited. Obviously, for that time frame, he was happy because we were going to retire. And that's all we talked about, honestly.
Let's talk because you mentioned that he passed away, and I know I mentioned at the beginning the topic today is suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jessica, life threw you an enormous,
Yeah.
unexpected curveball.
Yes.
Tell us what happened.
Yeah. So it was about 8 months after retirement. I was still going to work every day, working full time. He was at
Mhm.
home. He said, I just don't know what to do. There's nobody at home. Like he was here. He's like, I'm going to try golfing. I'm going to try golfing. Okay. Everybody needs to have a hobby. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got to go golfing. Okay. So he was trying that. And over those months, I mean, it wasn't that long of a time, but he was like, maybe I'm going to go to truck driving school. And so he signed up for that in Reading. He started going to that. I'm going to go help the farmers. I'm going to get my license to drive a truck while they're, just during harvest. I'm going to
Mm.
do that. Okay. So about 3 days into it, I think it was a 5-day class. He came home and he goes, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, you don't really have to do anything. You're retired. He goes, yeah, but it's like, what do you mean? And he goes, just, it's not for me. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
you don't have to. Okay. And so he quit. And he called me and he goes, I quit. And I go, oh, that's weird. I didn't think, I thought you were just going to go through it for a couple more days. And he goes, yeah, it's too stressful. I don't want to do, I don't want
Mm.
to. Okay. And he goes, I'm just going to relax, go back home. Okay. So he goes, continue on every day, blah, blah, blah. Well, after about 6 months, he's like, I'm just having a hard time sleeping. And I was like, okay, well, do
Mm.
you want to take these little, help me? Well, I don't want to take any medicine. That's
Yeah.
not good. Okay. So we all, meaning his family, my family, my friends, I was like, oh, Cesar's not sleeping. They're like, okay, well, tell him to try this. Tell him to try melatonin. I mean, we were trying all these things.
Yeah.
And he would say, oh, I think that worked. Okay. Well, he started now that I look back, it's like, oh, he lost weight. Well, he was working out. He was trying to get his mind focused on other things because he didn't have anything to do all day. So he's at the gym every day, and and he'd come by my salon and just be like, oh, I worked out, I'm losing my tummy. He was all, because he had that kind of personality, like, I look good. And so everybody in my salon would be like, oh yeah, Cesar, you look really good. He's like, what? I've lost my belly. I'm not drinking as much. That's another thing. He stopped drinking. He liked his beer. He liked Sierra Nevada Pella. That was his drink. So he's like, I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm going to be healthy. I'm just blah, blah. So he did. That was it. He was changing his life. He was working out. He was going to the golf course. He's going to coffee with the old timers and Willows. That was his thing. Go to Starbucks, blah, blah. So he was really doing that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Okay. Then I'd come home at 5 and, continue on. Well, over that time, he obviously was not sleeping. And one day on a normal day, I went to work and I said, I'll see you around 4:30. Love you. Okay. Kiss, leave. And over that a few hours, my sister-in-law, which his sister, called me and was like, hey, why is Cesar not answering his phone? And why is he not? I go, he's probably trying to sleep because, he doesn't been sleeping. She goes, oh, yeah, I thought about that. She goes, why don't you talk to him about something? Blah, blah. So I'm still at work, blah, blah, blah. She says, she ends up coming over to my house and she said, Jessica, your house is locked. And we don't lock our house. We live in Willows. We don't lock. And so and she's like, the dogs are inside. She's like, that's just weird. And so I said, well, okay. I go, well, you come get my garage door opener. So she did. And she found him. And she called me and she just said, you got to get home. You got to get home. Well, in the meantime, she had already called my mom, and my mom and dad were headed to pick me up at the salon because nobody wants you to, Right. So in the meantime, I'm doing a hair color. Well, it almost was a God thing because my client was a dispatcher. And when I was doing her hair, I said, something's going on. And I said, I got to go. And I leave. Well, she followed me with her hair color on and everything. I mean, all the way home. And my family was here and his family, and he was gone. And I just remember that day thinking, I was so in shock. Like, why would that happen? We have a great life. Is there something, what happened? At that time, I thought maybe somebody did something to him. I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking the cop thing, and all the officers are my friends and his friends. And they were like, yeah, and it's one of those shock moments that you can't believe it. You can't believe it. I mean, to this day, you just go, no, not him, because he dealt with going to calls like that. And he was the one I can't believe they would die by suicide. I can't believe it. And that's what in my head, I go back to that all the time. It's like, he was the one that dealt with those calls. He was the one that would talk somebody into coming out of a home. Yeah. And not committing. And so
he used to prevent it. He would prevent it.
He would. He was a hostage negotiator. He would, if anybody was in it, he was good at it. He could talk anybody out. He would be their friend. I know there was a couple of situations that they ended up being close after that, after he, helped them. So anyways, after that day, it changed my life forever. I still go back to that, but then I think, you don't know what somebody else is going through.
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, as it occurs to me, this just came out of left field. Like in the moment, totally shocked. I mean, for good reason. And impacts you, your family, your community, the law enforcement community at large. Just the ripple effect of that, is probably the ripples probably go a lot further than we even realize.
Exactly. And I never knew anybody that ever died by suicide. So I've never really thought about it.
And now what was this, 3 years ago? Is that right?
Yeah. April 13th will be 3 years.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So looking back, I mean, you've had some time to reflect and look back. Because people always ask, like, well, were there signs?
Yes.
And sometimes there's no signs at all. Sometimes there's signs all over the place. But looking back, were there signs?
Now, me and my kids especially always talk about the signs were sleep deprivation is so important. I didn't know that. Me and him had the same doctor. And when the doctor called me the next day after that, he said, Jessica, I knew he wasn't sleeping. We tried,
Mm.
you know, but I
Yeah.
said, doctor, and he goes, I just don't understand. And he goes, sleep deprivation, Jessica's real. It
Yeah.
alters your mind and your brain. You
Mm.
think you might be going crazy.
Mm.
And so now I think back, okay, sleep deprivation, sleep is real. I ask everybody that's always around me, do you do good on sleep? Because I'm a sleep girl. I want everybody to
Yeah.
sleep because I really feel like
Probably
that.
even more so now. Yeah.
Oh, more so. I mean, that was like, okay, are you sleep? And everybody goes, Jessica, we're sleep. I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure everybody's good. And do I think he was in his right mind? Absolutely not. Because
Mm.
if he was here today, I think he would say, I never did that. I never did
Mm.
that. Jessica, I would never do that. I was against people that did do that. So
Yeah.
that's where it's like weird to think about because it's like, and then losing weight, that's another thing. Okay.
Sure.
Now I know, oh, you lost weight. You were, doing things that were not really normal for you. Okay. You're not drinking alcohol. I mean, we had Easter at my house with like 50 people 4 days before he died. Why would
Mm.
we would ever think in 4 days he's going to do that? I mean, and
Yeah.
he was walking around here just saying, bragging, like, look at me, I look good, I'm working out. What a difference he did. Now we all talk about my family and his family, and it's like, oh, he was more loving and calm, and he had like one full beer the whole day of Easter, and he never really drank it, and that wasn't normal for him.
Yeah.
So now we look back and say, okay, you weren't drinking, you were working out, you were um okay, those could have been signs. But then on the other hand, it's like that could happen to any any person that didn't do it. They're not going to commit suicide.
Sure.
So those, you say they're signs, but I don't, I don't think there always is.
Yeah. I mean, and I would just be curious on my side. I mean, those are really helpful um, to hear about. I'd be curious on my side. Like, he had recently retired. His identity was probably, I mean,
Yes.
like all strong men, like we kind of tend to wrap our identity around what we do. And then when that season ends, and we all talk about retirement, we all look forward to retirement. We treat it as a good thing, but like it really is an abrupt end, and you have to like rediscover who you really are.
Really are. Yeah.
And that's a big thing to navigate, even though we look forward to it for most of our lives. When it actually happens, it alters our lives dramatically. And so
Exactly.
I'd just be curious if you ever have thought about that.
Oh,
Like,
you know
was
what I
it?
say to people is, I talked to a lot of the guys that have retired that were his friends. I said, what are you doing after retirement? And they go, well, after we lost him, we all are going to do something.
Mm.
We're all going to work at the academy. We are going to, I mean, so a lot of them just retired this last year. And I'm like, all right, you got they're like, hey, I'm going to do this. They all knew that you can't just abruptly just be done with something that was your identity. And that was your purpose every day, is to go and
Right.
fix everybody else. So I've watched people change their lives of, I'm gonna still work, Jessica. I'm gonna still
Mm.
do the part-time thing because, and another thing that has helped with a lot of departments too is they have at the end when it's getting close to retirement, a lot of the police departments that I've talked to, they said we have meetings with the guys like, okay, now what's your purpose? You got to think of what you got to do. What do you have after retirement? You can't just
Hmm.
go home and sit there because your mind is going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
um, and you're not doing, your identity's gone. That's what you're used to. So I watch people totally change their tune on being done. Like, stop. Just, you can't,
Right.
So
Yeah. Take us back to that season. Obviously, your whole world gets turned upside down. I imagine you can relate with words like numb, like you just felt like everything was numb.
yeah,
It was a blur.
it,
You were like
it,
you were like in
it
a time warp.
I felt like I was looking down at somebody else's life.
Mm.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was like not really mine.
Yeah.
And I would wake up and go, that really happened? How did that happen? We were so
Yeah.
happy. There was no problem with our marriage. Everybody always wants to think like, oh, you were having marriage problems, you're having money problems, you're having this.
Yeah.
You go through all that. And then you
Right.
talk to his friends and you talk, everybody's like, no, there wasn't those things. There wasn't,
Mm.
because you kind of want something. I know it's really weird, but you want to blame one thing. You want to blame it on something. Like,
Yeah, you want to give it a reason or an
yeah,
excuse or
like there
justify
has,
it. Right.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then I realized a lot too of like, I stopped after this happened. I got hooked up with Blue Suicide, which is a widows group. And 2 months after he died, the Chico police said, "We want to send you to this." And I said, "What do you mean? Well, you're going to send me to a retreat? Like there's people like me out there?" And they're like, "There's a big group of people." And
Wow.
they said, "We're sending you to Oklahoma, Jessica. Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to feel like I'm not alone."
Mm.
And my parents and my friends were like, "You're gonna go? You don't know anybody, Jessica." I was like, "Well, I'm gonna feel closer to them because
Yeah.
they've been there." And I went on a plane to Oklahoma by myself, which I was foggy. I didn't know. I mean, it was like all those emotions. Like, I don't know what's going on. Is this really happening? And that was a blessing that I went to that,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
those widows have been in years before me, and they helped me. And they said, "You're
Yeah.
not alone. We're here for you, Jess." And you know what?
Mm.
It saved me from going in that dark place of just wanting to not be here anymore,
Sure.
because I told my kids, like, I don't know what to do without him. He was our guy. He did all the
Yeah.
money, the bills. I didn't know how to pay a bill. He wanted to be in control of all that, which was fine with me. I liked it. Um, and then I had to just do everything. So it was like
Yeah.
starting from scratch. But that group helped me to go and talk and just telling my story, and then I
Mm.
helped them out a lot, because I said, I'm not going to let that define me. Suicide's not going to. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to change lives. I'm going to go talk to people. I'm not going to deny that my husband died by suicide, because a lot of women, they lied to family and friends and said it was a heart attack. And
Okay.
I want to bring awareness. Suicide
Right.
happens. And I don't want that to be in me, and I have to carry that, because that will bring you down, to carry a
Sure.
lie.
What would you say the past 3 years, what has the grieving process? And by the way, how cool, I mean, how cool is it that you got sent to this retreat where other people had experienced a dramatic, life change as well? Yeah, just to be in a space where you don't feel alone, other people
Yeah,
can empathize with like a very similar scenario to you that had to been extremely healing for you.
it was so healing. It was like a God thing. I just felt like, because
Yeah.
I told myself when I was laying in bed one night, God, you got to help me through this. I don't think I can do this. So I need you to clear the path and help me,
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
me, help me. And I'm not an over religious person, but I grew up in church. I have faith. I just said, I need you, and
Yeah.
I've always taught my kids to pray and ask God for that. So it was like I changed, and I went, wow, I need help. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's why things went this way in my path. Like, it changed me into being, I'm not that I'm shy, but I was shy about certain things. Like, I would never talk about this kind of stuff. And now look at me. But
Right.
it was all God. I believe that that's how
Mm.
it saved me. He saved
Yeah.
me, and the retreat saved me, because I really felt like, wow, I'm not alone, and I couldn't believe that there was people out there like me. I couldn't believe it.
I'm curious, like questions that you've had
Oh,
about yourself since that event,
uh,
or maybe even questions you still have about yourself related to that event.
yeah. I have questions like, wow, like, why did this happen? But then I think about it, and I think, Jessica, you are helping people. Now you have a
Yeah.
purpose. This is what your
Yeah.
purpose is. Even though I would have never even thought that, would have never. But I decided too that, because it's a hard thing when I've talked to other women too, they go, I don't go out of my house, Jessica. I would never go to Walmart ever again. I don't want to see people. Everybody looks at you, that's shameful. And I said, we shouldn't be ashamed of anything.
Mm.
We didn't do this,
Yeah.
this was not our choice. I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to go face people, and I'm going to help people. I mean, I changed my whole tune, because the questions that I had in my mind, I was like, this, and I'm not gonna bury that. I'm gonna come rise above. I have a full clientele with people that loved me and loved him, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna go face the world. And I went back to work and said, I don't care what people think. They love me and they love him, and we know, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna help people. And to be honest with you, there were so many questions at first, and like, I'm not gonna do this. And man, did that change.
Yeah.
That changed a lot. The one thing that I will say though, I taught a lot of my clients because they go, Jessica, I would have never wanted to talk to you and face you um, with this because we don't know what to
Mm.
say. And I said, the biggest thing for me is I want people to just hug me and say, I'm here for you.
Mm.
Don't say, oh, my mom passed away. I know you from cancer. Suicide is not the same.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be mean. I feel bad.
Yeah.
I had people, my family died from that.
Yeah.
This is a totally different, it's a different kind of death.
Oh,
And
it's a whole different dimension.
a lot of,
Absolutely.
and I had a hard time at first. I will tell you, I kind of got away from a lot of people that I loved because they would say stuff like that. Well, Jessica, I know what it's like. No, you
Yeah.
don't. No, you don't. You don't know what it's like. I'm sorry. And it's different. We're going to have to live with this, and
Yeah.
it's nothing like
Well, what should people say or what should they
all,
not say to
all,
someone that's grieving the
I,
loss?
yeah, I say, just don't say, I know what you're going through, because it's a trigger moment. It's a trigger moment.
Yeah.
And it's really sad because like I've done hair for 33 years. And when people say that, I never wanted to see them again. And that
Yeah.
was not me, because I love everybody. I love everybody.
Yeah.
But we, as suicide survivors, do not want to hear that.
Yeah.
Know what you're going through. Just say, you know what, Jessica, or whoever, I am so sorry. And I just want you to know I'm here for you. That's it.
Yeah.
And you know
Yeah.
what? If you don't want to say anything, hug the person. That's
I was
it.
just
Don't,
gonna
don't
say sometimes no words are necessary.
Yes.
Just be present and give a hug.
And I remember the first
Yeah.
time I walked in to Walmart, I saw somebody I knew, and she ran away from me. And it almost hurt me more.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
why did she do that? Please don't do that. None of us want. And you know what we want is you to come
Mm.
up to us and say, oh my gosh, remember when Cesar, was giving me, shit about something? Okay, that is what we want to hear. Like, we want to hear those stories that, oh my gosh, remember this? I love hearing that. I love hearing stories
Sure.
because we want to hear that, and
Hmm.
so just don't hide from us.
In fairness, I think they're well intentioned. I don't think they're intentionally
No,
saying something to hurt you, or whether it's by suicide or by other means. Death sucks, right?
it does
And
suck.
sometimes we just don't know what to say. But yeah, there's a lot of value in not having to say something and just giving a hug. Just be
Just
there
it.
and just say, "Hey, I'm here for you."
Yep, that's it. That's all I
Something as
want
simple
people.
as that. Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's really hard because that was like a real, in a small town, everybody. And most
Yeah.
of my girls that were widows, they left, they moved out of their house, and they moved far away
Hmm.
so that they didn't have to see anybody. I wanted to
Right.
do, I wanted to do different.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, especially in a small town where everyone knows your name, and
Yep,
then something
exactly.
something like that happens, you just want to get away. You don't want to be
You
known.
what it, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Brian. If this would have happened and I knew something, I would have probably hid from them too,
Yeah.
because until you go through it, you don't know.
Right.
And I would have been like, I don't know what to say to her. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Mm.
Now I know. So I've
Yeah.
changed a lot too.
Well, this topic, suicide, is such a delicate topic and one that people tend to just avoid it altogether. It's that delicate. Like I mentioned before, it's like in a different dimension. What is the main reason you want to actually talk about the subject? Why do you want to bring this out into the light?
I think I want to bring it out to the light because I have met so many people after me talking about it so much that they're like, Jessica, I wasn't in that dark place. And until I
Mm,
talked to you and saw what you went through,
mm,
I wanted I wanted to die.
yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, people coming to you. And that made a difference with me and with my clients when they would sit there, and I've been doing their hair for 30 years, and they said, "Hey, you never knew this, but my dad committed suicide, Jessica. We never were allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, it's
Nope."
like taboo. It's like you just don't talk about it.
And so that really made me go, you know what? Oh, I'm going to talk about it. All right. Because if I changed just a few lives,
Yeah,
then that was my purpose.
sure.
That was my purpose. So, and the stigma of suicide is, it's just awful. It's just a
Yeah.
stigma. Like it, I want to change that. I thought, what could I do? And, now, one of his best friends started the golf tournament, and it's, in honor of Cesar, but it's to help out with mental health. And we have a fundraiser. We have
Yeah.
it now. This will be the third. So um, all the money goes towards helping people that need counseling, therapy. And
Mhm.
I was all about it. I said, you go for that, Brian. You do that. I think this needs to be talked about. And he was a probation officer. So, and him and Cesar worked tight with each other. And there you go. We wanted to make a difference.
Love that. It sounds like as you brought this topic out into the light, it's actually liberated others,
Yes.
which is wonderful.
Yes.
Jessica, how has it liberated you?
I feel like it gave me like a different sense of everything in my life. I mean, I've changed I've changed in so many ways, but it gave me hope and it gave me a purpose. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever really sat and thought of what I wanted in life. So, I mean, it's changed me in so many ways that I can't even really explain, because it's just like everything changed in my life. And
Yeah.
I do think, oh gosh, if he was here right now, he'd be like, I'm so proud of you, because he always wanted to change people's life, right? And
Yeah.
help them. And now his wife is in a horrible, it's a
Mm.
horrific, but I've made it meaningful by just changing.
Yeah.
And look at all the people I've touched, even with my clientele. They're like, you're a different person, Jessica. You literally, in a better way. How could that be you're better
Yeah.
in that way? You're outspoken. You're just, I go, well, I think he left me with that. Maybe there was a reason. I mean, I don't know. It's just been really, it's been very different.
You know that the topic of the podcast is choose the better story. And Jessica, you would have every right and every reason to, for the rest of your life, curl up in the fetal position, never leave your house, be pissed off forever.
Yes.
And instead, and that would have told a story, but instead you're using this to like, this is gonna fuel my vision. I'm gonna use
Yes.
this to serve people. I'm going to make an impact. I'm going to help others that are going through, like, you're using it as a way to serve people. I just want to commend you for that. Holy smokes. Like, you had like the worst possible thing on planet Earth happen, and it was very, very close to you. And you're like, you're not going to let that keep you down. I, I,
No.
I just want to like give you props for that. That's incredible because you would have every reason to do quite the opposite. So
And thank you
commend you
for
for
that.
that. Yeah.
And, I not ignoring the pain of what happened,
Yeah.
uh, but I decided that I'm going to have a life. I am going, I am, I'm going to live. I'm going to smile and I'm going to laugh, because I'll
Yeah.
tell you, my friends, the people close to me said, Jessica, I never thought you were going to laugh again. I never thought you were going to smile again. Your smile was different. And my kids, I mean, my son is a really good speaker. He's in the academy, and he gets up in front of everybody and talks about this to those
Yeah.
first responders. And I think that's a lot of how us three, we engage with this. Like, we are going to do different. We are going to speak. We are going to, and my kids told me right away, Mom, we don't want you to be alone. And if you want to live life and fall in love with somebody, it was a blessing that my kids just
Yeah.
stood behind me and said, we are so happy that you're smiling again. You're laughing. I mean, and, I want to give people that hope too. Like, you can choose to stay where you are. I chose to keep going.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I'm going to live, and I'm going to love again, and I'm going to do all these things. And to be honest with you, I think that it's helped, the other widows to see what they write me all the time. I can't believe that you're out there, you're doing things and you're talking and you now I have a boyfriend that it stands with me, and helps me, because this is not an easy thing. This is not
Right.
an easy thing. And it's stuck and it's going to be with me, but I'm going to
For you or your boyfriend. It wouldn't be easy for
uh,
him either.
no,
Yeah.
it's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
And nobody wants that. I didn't want that. I didn't even want anything, but it's literally changed me in that way that I can do. I'm not going to define my life about suicide, about his
Yeah.
suicide. I am continuing to live, and I'm hopeful, and I feel grateful. I feel, everybody thinks that's weird, but I feel
Yeah.
grateful that I have had, and my kids are my life, and they support me and everything. And look at them. They've rose above what we could have been, in a fetal position, crying for the rest of
Yeah.
our life. And it would be
Yeah.
okay. And it would be okay.
How are you using this tragedy to help serve other people, specifically people that are in law enforcement or first responders?
Yes. Well, like I was saying, we do have that golf tournament, and his friends, they have a good little group of people that help out with that. And
Yeah.
I travel everywhere to different departments, whoever wants me. And I'll go talk to those police officers and tell them, you are enough. That's my little thing. You are enough. Don't
Yeah.
ever think that people don't want you here,
Yeah.
because you are here for a reason. And you can't do this to your family. Your family needs you.
Jessica, can I point out a notice that I have?
Yeah.
Um, you're talking about this topic so naturally and so matter of fact. And I'm curious, do you still have days where you're really pissed off
Yes.
or
Yeah.
really sad? And what does that look like?
And it's true. You feel like you're bipolar, because you're up and then you're down.
Yeah.
It's like, I explained to one of my clients the other day, it's like beach waves, like in the ocean, and then it's the way it
Hmm.
goes, oh, okay, you feel good. And then all of a sudden that one just crashes and brings you down, and it might
It
be,
knocks you over. Yeah.
oh, it will just, I would just be at work and just have a breakdown. And it would
Yeah.
be like somebody telling me like a funny story, but that I break down. It's okay,
Yeah.
because I do get emotional, and I get emotional right now, but I just feel that it's okay to have those feels, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be sad one minute and you're going to be laughing. It's like that. And especially for the first 2 years, it was a roller coaster of emotion. I was like, I don't even know if I could walk in there without crying. Or what if I see his truck? Those are things. It's just those things that you don't really think about until it happens. And
Yeah.
there will still be times that I go, oh, whew, took my breath away. But I always say, you know what? Just take a deep breath, and I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be
Yeah.
okay. But it is a roller coaster of emotions, and that's normal.
Yeah. And I really liked your analogy of waves. And sometimes you're right. Like you could feel like you're doing great in life or you're getting better, and all of a sudden it just takes one wave to knock
One,
you back down, and just it'll take you back to that place where you remember, and then you're picking yourself off the ground
yep,
because you just got mowed over by a wave, and you
exactly.
experience it, and that's just and that is okay. That is
And
okay.
that you're mad. I'm
Yeah.
pissed off some days. I'm like, how could he have done this? He loved me so much. My gosh, he wouldn't even want me to be with anybody else. Like, I go through those because it's like, and my kids do that too. I can't believe Dad would leave. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and then we go, okay, he couldn't have been in the right mind, because Dad was in control of everything. He controlled
Yeah.
us. So there you go with that too. It's like, so then we're pissed off, and then the kids will call me like, today was a bad day, and my daughter has a tattoo on her wrist, which I have it on my ankle, but there was like 20 of us that went and got tattoos, and it's just the, suicide symbol.
Yeah.
And so my daughter works at a dermatologist, and she
Mm.
said, a gentleman walked in and said, oh, I have the same tattoo. Who'd you lose? And she broke down at work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She goes, Mom, I was a mess. I'm like, it's okay. They were hugging. The guy needed her because he never talked about it. It was just like one of those things that's like, Shayla, you just helped somebody. And
Yeah.
Connor has the same one. So then when Connor sees people, they go, oh, that he doesn't know. They're like, who did you lose? So it's now you're able to talk to somebody. And look at, you made them be able to talk about it. And
Right.
I just feel like we all go through that, but we'll call each other and like cry. And then we listen to a song. We all sing songs to each other, and then we talk about the funny parts and the parts that we're like, gosh, dad would be cracking up right now, or he would be ripping on us right now. And, then we get back up, right? We're like
Yeah.
happy, mad.
I'm trying to keep things lighthearted right now, but you work in a hair salon, that's right?
Oh, yes.
So you're cutting hair, you're coloring hair, you're doing all that stuff. You do have kind of an all access pass because if you ever mess up on someone's hair, you can be like, yeah, I'm just pissed off today.
Yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
I'm just pissed off
Exactly.
today.
And you
Sorry.
know what? They won't say anything because they're scared.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. They're not
what?
going to respond.
No.
They're like, they're just gonna be like, yeah, okay, I
Yeah,
understand.
okay. Okay. I might just give her a tip today. I might give her
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica, what would you say to someone who has lost someone close to them to suicide?
Oh, I would, and I do this a lot. I'll be the first one there
Hmm.
to hug them
Hmm. Yeah.
and to cry with them.
Yeah.
And I'll get them through it. I've done it quite a few times now. And it doesn't matter where they are. I've flown places, I've
Hmm.
driven miles and miles. And you know what? I would do it all over again. If somebody
Hmm.
called and lost somebody, I'll be there because you want to not feel alone and you need somebody that's gone through it to understand.
Yeah, and just notice, so those of you that are listening, because earlier she said, there's things that you can say that's appropriate and things that you shouldn't say that just aren't appropriate, whether it be suicide or the death of a loved one by any means. But notice that she said, I would be there, I would hug them, and I would cry with them. She didn't say she would say anything. It was just her presence and her like physical hug, that the affection. It just without saying words, it's just demonstrating I'm here with you, I'm here for you. An admittance that you don't know what to say, and that's okay as well. Just give a hug, just be present.
Yes.
Um,
And another thing I would tell somebody too, there's nothing you could have, should have. Don't ever say those words. Those
hmm,
are words we do not. I learned that at the retreat right away.
yeah.
No coulda, shoulda. No. Remember that because people, they always say, what could I have done? What should I have done? Like, no.
It's weird because, I've been doing this podcast since November, I believe is when it started, and comes out every Friday. I never know who's listening to this. I
Yeah.
really don't.
Yeah.
But my hope is that as I continue doing this podcast is going to reach more people than I ever imagined.
Mhm.
And so I think it would be appropriate, Jessica, to ask you the question that let's just say there's somebody that's listening who is considering the idea of taking their own life.
Mhm.
What would you say to them?
I would say, don't do anything in that moment that maybe in 24 to 48 hours, it would not be the same outcome. You might think something is so bad today, but in 2 days, that's not a big deal.
Yeah,
I've taught my kids when they were little, when they come home with a bad day, I go, honey, in a day or two, that's not going to matter.
yeah.
You're going to be okay.
Hmm.
And you are enough. Do not do anything. Do not, with a temporary situation, you're going to make it permanent. You can't take that back. And I've talked to some that have tried to commit suicide and it didn't work out. And they all say the same thing. Gosh, that was just temporary feeling and a permanent solution. That was permanent. They could have died. And they all say, wow, I almost made that
Hmm.
mistake.
Yeah.
They always do.
Yeah, it's powerful. When you hear the phrase choose the better story, how does that land on you? What comes to mind?
Yeah. Doesn't mean you're ignoring the pain of what happened. I am going to live, laugh, and make a difference in somebody's life. That's the better story. That's what I'm doing. That's my purpose in life is
Yeah.
I have a better story than that. And if I can do this, anybody can do this. And I'm going to end well with I'm only here for a certain amount of time on this earth, and I'm going to make all the good decisions for my story. So my story is not going to end with that. I'm not going to let that define me, not suicide.
Anything else you feel like you'd want to say that would like bring max value to the listener that you haven't conveyed yet?
Yeah, I just think that I just want everybody to know that you are enough. I should have worn my shirt today. I wear a shirt that says you are enough. Every time I usually travel and stuff, and I've given my sweatshirts to people on the plane. I've had people come up to me and say, I was thinking about it, like giving up.
Yeah.
And I'll take off that sweatshirt and give it to them. You are enough. So I want everybody to know that you mean something. You mean something. And it doesn't matter if it's today that is a bad day. Tomorrow will be better. Just remember that.
Jessica, I do appreciate your time for just spending with me and be willing to share your story,
Yeah.
and obviously a very delicate story and a very delicate topic. I don't know if you get done with something like this and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel exhausted, like I just, dug 100 ditches, or if this doesn't occur to you as like emotionally taxing on my end, I'm like, oh my gosh, you are showing such bravery, such strength, such conviction, and you just want to make an impact, and it just like oozes out of you, and I just commend you for that. You are choosing the better story.
Yes.
And I just appreciate the fact that you're committed to other people with such conviction that you are willing to not only expose this topic, but like you want everyone to know. You want everyone to realize that they are enough. Like their life does matter. Jessica, where can people find you? Are you like a social media person or not really?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm in Willows. I have a salon. It's called Identity Salon. Everybody knows. You just reach out to anybody in Willows. They all know me. So my thing is that I'm here for anybody.
Yeah.
I am. I'm here, and I'm going to be here, and I am willing to talk to anybody.
Well, if it's all right with you, I'll put a few of your social handles in the show notes, because it's possible that someone's going to listen to this and they'll be like, man, I wish I could actually talk with Jessica. With your permission, I'll do that.
Yes,
That way you can be able to connect.
I love that, and that's my purpose.
Yeah. I love that. Well, in closing, I'm going to wrap this up the same way I typically wrap up the podcast, and that is just to remind all of you that are listening that you are the hero of your own story. And so this week, I'm going to like just make a direct application. I've been telling you guys to dust off your cape and put it on and go choose the better story for your life. And this week, I think a very practical thing, a practical imagery that I want to leave you with is putting that cape on and then reminding you that you are enough. You are absolutely enough. So put that cape on, remind yourself that you're enough, and go make an impact in your world today. You got this.
A better life, better vision, what you wanting, let's make it happen. Time to choose the better story, come on. Choose the better story. Hey, choose the better story, yeah.